my best advice is just kind of what I was already saying about don't worry about how it looks or making it perfect. And like I said, I feel so funny taking pictures of my own face because I've never done it before, and I feel like I'm doing it wrong, and I probably am. But people do not care. I think there's this pressure online that we have to be someone like better or different. But like I would say, if you're the type of person that is fine going to the grocery store in no makeup and sweats, which I am, like, why are you too nervous to be on Instagram in no makeup and sweats? Like, it's just a real life place to meet real life people. And I think we just can, it's so much easier to be consistent when we're just like being ourselves.
Hey there, I'm Rachel Ehring, and you're listening to the Top Music Piano Podcast. Get inspired as we discuss creative resources, trends in piano pedagogy, ways to grow your income and streamline your studio, and new ways to engage your students each week. If you are a teacher who wants to go beyond the method books to create an innovative studio that fosters lifelong music makers, you've come to the right place. Hello there, piano teachers. Thank you for being here today. I feel so honored to be able to spend this time with you each week. And one of my favorite parts about hosting this podcast is the incredible teachers that I get to meet. And today's guest is definitely one of those people. And I know that you're going to enjoy getting to know her today as well. We are talking about how to incorporate music into daily life from a very young age, and how Leslie's Composer Chronicles have given her a platform that she wasn't expecting on Instagram. And if you've ever had a student's parents say, I don't know how to help my child because I never had music lessons, and look at you with that helpless look in their eyes, we talk about that too. So here's a little bit about Leslie. Leslie Merritt is a dedicated music educator and the founder of the Composer Study Club, a program designed to help parents integrate classical music into their children's daily lives with ease. With over 20 years of teaching experience and as a mother of 3, Leslie developed her Easy Music at Home method to bridge the gap between academic music theory and joyful, low-stress family learning. Her philosophy centers on the belief that music is a foundational tool for developmental readiness, helping children build critical listening skills and emotional regulation through consistent exposure rather than memorization. Through her digital community, she advocates for a balanced approach to music history, frequently highlighting the contributions of often overlooked women composers alongside historical masters to show that music is for everyone. Her mission is to empower parents, regardless of their own musical background, to create calmer, more connected homes through curated playlists and simple press play habits. Here's my chat with Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Welcome to the show. I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit today and hear more about your story. Can you start by introducing yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting with you. I'm Leslie Merritt. I am a lifelong piano teacher and creative composition teacher. I'm a musician and I have 3 little kids. So a few years ago, I started going into my kids' classrooms and teaching a Composer of the Month study. And I just fell in love with it. It's so much fun. So back in October, I started an Instagram page to start sharing my composer studies with more people. And it's just become a really fun platform where I get to encourage families to use music more intentionally at home.
Nice. So I didn't realize you'd only been doing this since October. So that's grown quickly for you on Instagram.
It has. And I'm happy to talk about that with everybody too, because I'd love to see more music teachers on the gram.
Yeah, for sure. We will get into that for sure, because I know a lot of teachers do post on Instagram and maybe they have little side things that they're selling or whatever. So I do want to talk about that. But let's start by talking about your piano teacher journey. How did you become a piano teacher in the first place?
So I actually barreled right into it when I was 13 years old. I don't know if you've seen that. So I started teaching neighbors and friends and started putting little ads in the community newspaper. And by the end of high school, I was level 1 certified. I do the Robert Pace methodology, the International Piano Teaching Foundation. So by the end of high school, I had 30 students and was doing biannual recitals and just loved it. And then I went off to college and it was the recession. So I studied accounting and I actually became a CPA and I worked in Big Four accounting for a couple of years. And then I really, really missed teaching. So as soon as I got married, we moved back to the suburbs and I started teaching piano again. And I just have not looked back.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, accounting, it's a whole different world than piano teaching, huh? I would imagine. I've never done it, but it seems like it would be a very different lifestyle.
It was. And it was, accounting, math and music are so similar in the brain. And so it was really fun to learn accounting. But then once when I was working in accounting, I was like, oh my goodness, we do the same thing every single day. So I really missed how dynamic teaching is and how every day is new and you kind of never know what you're going to get, like in the best way.
Yes, absolutely. It's such a creative career path that we have. Tell me about your love for classical music. How did that start? Did you always love classical music?
So I've always loved every kind of music. I'm a huge music lover, but some music is kind of like it's good until it's not. You almost kind of use it up as you listen to it, and then it's not good anymore. Whereas, and this can be said for music of any genre, but most often with classical, the music gets better and better the more you live with it and the more you hear it and you get to really know it. So I'm just really passionate about kind of exposing kids to that kind of music that they can really form a relationship with for the rest of their life.
Okay. Do you remember some of your first favorite classical pieces? I know I didn't warn you. I was going to ask, but
I think, which is what comes to mind. I think we all remember the first time we played for Elise and just were like, I have made it in the world. I always loved like Brandenburg. Always loved, like, my parents were pretty awesome about telling me the stories of composers. So I fell in love with like Clara Schumann, Brahms, those kind of composers just by knowing their stories. And that's a lot of what I share in my composer studies, because I do think when kids get to know these crazy, interesting people, they become so much more interested in the music.
Yeah. Were your parents musicians?
My dad he will not play in front of anyone. He's a wonderful classical and Spanish guitar player. And if he even can tell you're listening at the door, he starts messing up. But he's an amazing musician. And so I'm always like, we got to get you playing in front of people.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So everything that you share is so aligned with what I believe about kids and music and how important it is for kids to be exposed to music at a young age. I would love for you to just talk a little bit about that, like why you think it's so important and I don't know, whatever comes up for you about starting kids in music very early, not necessarily in formal lessons, but exposing them to music early on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because there's, of course, such a huge mountain of research around early childhood development and language skills and all of that with music. But for me, it's just been such a natural thing. I mean, my mom growing up always said she called piano my therapy budget because she just saw how much it helped me and helped me work through things. And then seeing my children, like having kids and seeing how they respond to intentional music has been such a beautiful thing. I've really been liberated by being able to use music with them and not feel the pressure of like, I was never worried about flashcards or, a lot of people work on forcing like learning letters really soon and learning letter sounds. And they kind of force like early reading before it's natural. Whereas in a lot of other countries, like European countries, I've heard they don't even really worry with the early reading because it catches up later if these basics are instilled first. So as a mother, it's just been so liberating to be like, you know what, I'm not worrying about buying a preschool curriculum. We're just going to listen to beautiful living music. We're going to sing nursery rhymes. And that's been a huge gift in my home.
Mm-hmm. Can you give some more specific examples of how you use music in your home?
Oh my gosh. I mean, my poor children, I'm relentless, but
I love that.
Okay. So in the mornings, I play music before they come up. That is my thing. I think it's so important for families today. We're in this digital age where kids are so overwhelmed and they're so used to being able to request whatever they want. And the problem is they're so fried, they're requesting skibbity toilet. You know, like you'd think with everything at their fingertips, it would be this huge blessing. And they're like, I love all this great music, but they don't because their nervous systems are completely shot. So I think it's so, so, so important as parents that you have a time every day when you're in charge of the music and they come to just accept, like, okay, this isn't my time to request music. And it gives them a break from that overwhelm of like, what should I request? What should I pick? The whole world is at my fingertips. It gives them a break and they can actually accept what's playing and listen to it. And that's how they fall in love with beautiful music. And then I also of course, have times in the day when they're requesting the music and they can listen to whatever they want. But yeah, we sing a ton of nursery rhymes. I do little like micro piano lessons with my kids, just like no pressure. I didn't start my 9-year-old in lessons until he was 8. But yeah, we sing and we dance and we just have a great time over here.
That's amazing. Okay, so we have to talk about this idea of the parent getting to choose the music. So my son, who's 8, he loves rock and roll, and
I love that.
Let me tell you, I've listened to more rock and roll in the past 3 months than I've listened to my whole life before that. So I'm getting to know.
What is he loving?
Oh, let me think here. Ozzy Osbourne. What else? Tom Petty. He's like pretty old school with his taste. And we've mostly been listening to the radio. He's interested in cassette tapes now. So I've been trying to find cassette tapes, which are impossible to find.
Isn't that funny?
It's so funny. But I do wonder about, you were talking about the nervous system. Like maybe there is something more relaxing about like the cassette tapes or CDs or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, he has pushed back when I try and choose the music. Do you have any advice for me?
Okay, well, first of all, I think that you should be really happy with where you are, like as a starting point, because this is awesome. Like, I love that he's loving good music and living music, and that he loves music at all is like a huge win. But like I said, like I think one way to have that kind of expectation of like they kind of get used to it. Like, okay, this is the time that it's my music, not yours. One way to do that is like think of a time when he always joins you. Like, is there a time in the evening when you relax that you kind of know he's going to come around? Or when you're folding laundry, does he kind of come around and chat with you? When they're stalling bedtime, my kids are so good when they're stalling bedtime. Like, they'll do anything I say. So if I'm hanging out in my room, they are not going to complain about the music because
they know they'll get sent straight to bed.
Yeah, they're just like, let's hang out. I'm stalling bedtime. So, I would find those times when maybe you kind of know he joins you, and it's like, you're not like, hey, I want you to listen to this, but it's more like, this is what I'm listening to. And they do. I mean, I can tell he already has good taste in music. Like if he's exposed to beautiful music, he's going to find new things that he loves. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'll think about that. I like that idea of bringing him into kind of my world. Sometimes in the car, so we have all his rock and roll stations programmed on the radio. And we'll go through them all. And if none of them are playing music, I'll hit the jazz preset button and I'll be like, well, we're just going to have to listen to some saxophone music because there's nothing else on. And he'll be like, Mom, change the station.
But even the radio, I think that's so much better than our phones because they're just like, what's on? I'm going to experience it versus this like frantic energy of, I can request anything. What should I request? I love that energy of like, let's see what's on.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So I don't know how I made this all about me and my family, but let's bring it back to you. So you talk a lot about in your content about parents and how they can use music with kids, which is what we've been talking about. But how do these concepts also apply to piano teachers?
Well, okay. On top of just, I really think we need to be encouraging our families to be playing music at home. If you have a student, like I said, learning for at least for the first time, and that's so exciting, just shoot a note to the parent and be like, hey, let's play some Beethoven at home. Let's let your child get to know this composer, because I'm telling you, like any career, I know teaching music can get discouraging sometimes. Sometimes it's just like we're in those seasons where they're not practicing. You feel like you're one of 500 activities they signed up for this fall. But we have so much power to speak goodness and beauty into our students' lives. And I really think if we can give them like a glimpse of what it means to love music and what music means to us as people who have chosen to do it for our career, like you are giving such a gift to the world. So just be encouraged and encourage them to play music at home and play them music during lessons. I mean, like I gave the Beethoven example, you could do that for the last few minutes of your lesson and really take an opportunity to create music lovers, not just people who can play an instrument.
Yeah, I think this idea of empowering parents is really important. I know in the conservatory where I teach, I sometimes will hear parents say, "I'm not musical," and it's like they feel defeated and helpless because there's nothing they can do because they didn't take music lessons, and so it's just all up to the teachers, right? They can't do anything at home because they don't know how to read music. So I like this idea. How do you, beyond encouraging parents to play music at home, are there some other specific ways that you encourage the parents in your studio to help their kids in this journey?
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting you said that about parents feeling excluded because I haven't experienced that as much in my studio, but since starting my Instagram page, I can't believe how many people are like, "You're healing wounds." Like, I have felt so excluded. People really feel like it's a class thing, which is so funny because I'm like, us who are music teachers are not rolling in the money. But people who aren't music people seem to feel like very excluded from it for some reason. So if that happens with the parents in your studio, I would really, really encourage you to be like, you know what, it's never too late to learn. You can learn alongside your kid. I usually have a little intake meeting. I know that's probably old fashioned, but I still like to have a little intake meeting with new students just to kind of say, like, what are your expectations? And here are my expectations for practice. And that's a really good time to be like, you know what, even if you don't know anything about music, I have some playlists for you. I would love for you to play some of this in the background of your home and just kind of empower them that, like, I don't know what this feeling is of people feeling left out, but the music world is not leaving anyone behind, or like we're not leaving anyone out on purpose. And we really want everyone to be a part of this and to experience music that they love, not necessarily what we think is like the right music, but everyone should get to experience music they love and have that as a part of their home.
Yeah, I like that. And I know you're too humble to say it, but I think I'm going to suggest that my parents follow you on Instagram because it sounds like that could be a good place for them to start. I like what you
Yeah,
said
I would
about
love it.
healing wounds. I think that, yeah, some of them do have those wounds that they need healed in their musical past. So I'm going to point them to you. Thank
Well,
you.
I would love it. And I really do give a lot of just starting points. And that's all people need. They just need some encouragement and a place to start. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you said that you started the Instagram in October. Did it just come out of your own experience as a mom and piano teacher, or what gave you the idea?
Yeah. So these composer studies that I started teaching in my kids' classes, I put like so much love and time into them. I started being like, I would love it if more people could have these, if I had a way to like share these with more people. So that was sort of my idea, my first idea. And then, as I'm sure you know, like I hate turning down piano students. It hurts my heart. And so I just kept thinking, like, is there a way I could be reaching more kids than you can do through like a little studio?
Yeah. So what has the response been to your content?
It has been so much fun. Like I told you, so many parents have said like this was not on my radar and now it's a part of our home. Like that is so encouraging. So many people have just like sent little messages saying my kids are loving this music, or I have an activity in my composer study where I encourage them to listen to music and draw what it sounds like to them. And I've had so many people share, like one little girl drew a rose and said, I think it was like Vivaldi's Winter Largo or something. She said the song sounded like a beautiful rose that would never stop blooming or something. And she drew it and the mom sent it to me. It's been really fun. It's been really cool. I have a lot of grandmas following me, which I love, just grandparents who kind of want the time they have with their grands to be more intentional. So it's just been a blast.
I should have done a little more research, but is the composer study, is that like a subscription or how does that tie in?
Nope, it's just free in my bio. I drop it towards the beginning of the month. I try to do it on the first. It's not always the first, but yeah, every month you can just find it in my bio. It's free. Yeah, and it's just I put together like a playlist. I make a little read aloud. I draw their portrait in Procreate because that's just kind of a hobby. And I think kids really love to see a kind of friendlier cartoon version of the person they're getting to know. And I drop a craft and a book list. So it's just sort of some fun things you can do throughout the month.
And then how are people typically finding you on Instagram? Is it just all organic, word of mouth, or how do you think they're finding you?
It is the algorithm. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because often my mom will be like, "Oh, I told a friend about your Instagram page." And I appreciate that, but I'm like, the Instagram algorithm is an amazing matchmaker. It's going to find you your people if you signal it the right way. So it's pretty incredible.
Okay, talk about that, signaling it the right way. What does that mean?
Okay, I've gotten really into this. So
Oh, good. Tell us all your secrets.
Okay, I will. Okay, so I started my page October 1st. I researched all of September. I was like watching YouTube videos about Instagram growth, how to set up your profile, all those things. So it's actually pretty fun and I've gotten really into it. But first of all, I will tell you, you just have to be consistent. You do not have to be perfect. So I had never been on social media before. I have no idea how to like do this or take a selfie. And now I'm like this 37-year-old woman taking a selfie in the car. It's ridiculous. But people want to see your face. They don't need you to be perfect, but they want to get to know you. A lot of my content that has performed the best has just been the same picture on every carousel, on every slide. I'm sorry, not on every carousel, but on every slide.
Of a carousel post?
Every slide of the carousel will be the exact same picture I've duplicated. And I'm just saying important words over the top. So I really don't think right now any of us have the time. I mean, if you want to be like an aesthetic pretty account, that's awesome. Like I don't have the time for that. And I don't think you need that to perform on Instagram. So you don't have to make it perfect, but you just have to be consistent and keep showing up. And then the other thing I would say is you have to decide who your audience is and post for them. Because if you start being consistent, you'll start getting posts that do better and they will start getting sent out to more people. But if someone sees a post and they like it and they go check out your page and you don't have other content for them, they're not going to follow you. So you really need like a page that's for one type of person so that when they go over there, they go, "Oh, they have I liked that video. They have other things for me too." Hit follow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have any advice, especially as a busy mom, a piano teacher, for staying consistent with your posting?
My best advice is just kind of what I was already saying about don't worry about how it looks or making it perfect. And like I said, I feel so funny taking pictures of my own face because I've never done it before. And I feel like I'm doing it wrong and I probably am, but people do not care. I think there's this pressure online that we have to be someone like better or different. But like I would say, if you're the type of person that is fine going to the grocery store in no makeup and sweats, which I am, like, why are you too nervous to be on Instagram in no makeup and sweats? Like, it's just a real life place to meet real life people. And I think it's so much easier to be consistent when we're just like being ourselves on the platform, like filming the things we already do. If you are teaching adults, don't post about teaching kids, because if it's not your real life, it's like really hard to be consistent because then you're like having to make up things to film versus like, oh, this is my normal life and I'm going to kind of record something I'm already doing today.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I'm curious, do you have any paid offers or is it all just the free Instagram content?
It's just all free. I'm just kind of working on learning this platform and building a fun community right now.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you from all of us for all the free content.
Yeah, I'm just tickled pink that people are taking my composer studies because when I first opened my account, it was like posting into the abyss for 6 weeks. And I'm like, please, people, take this. This is like my love offering. Please take it. And it's really exciting that now people are.
Yeah. I saw a recent post about storybooks in lesson, or not storybooks in lessons, but musical storybooks. I think that was you, right?
Oh, yeah. Like some picture books.
Yeah. Which I love musical picture books. I think
Same.
They're the best. Is that just a resource like that parents should be using at home? Do you use those in lessons? What are your thoughts about musical picture books?
I haven't used those in lessons. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. That would be really Awesome. I have not done that in my lessons.
I've done it with the real little ones, like sometimes the preschoolers or something like that. They love it. If you just
That's such a good idea. Read a little picture book.
Yeah, at the end of the lesson.
It's so good with the littles to break up the lesson. So like, that's a really good idea. But no, we read at home. And that's another thing. When I was saying music was such a relief for me with my kids, as like, I didn't feel like I ever had to worry about like learning letters really early or flashcards or worksheets. Did music, and we read so much. Like I read aloud to them so much. And I really do think that makes a huge difference. So I do love a good musical picture book.
Yeah, me too. I theorize that my son is the way he is because I read to him so much and played music. When I was pregnant with him, I had a staff accompanying job where I was playing the piano hours every day. And I like to think that made him partly who he is. I don't know if it's
1,000%. I like to think it too. Like I like to think it too. Anytime like we have a good reading score or something, I'm like, it's the music and the reading.
Exactly.
I know it.
Yes. So tell us where listeners can find your composer resources, find you on Instagram, all the places that you are.
Yeah. So I'm Composer Study Club over on Instagram, all one word. And yeah, you can grab my Composer of the Month study every month in my bio for free. And I've had quite a few teachers reach out and ask, which I appreciate, but you do not need to ask. You are welcome to use those in your studio, even if you just get a little inspiration, all the way up to like, if you want to print them out and give them to your students, I love it. I'm great with that. So yeah, I would love for you guys to use this free resource. It's just like, I'm evangelizing classical music out here. So,
well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share? Maybe something that I forgot to ask or something that's on your mind or your heart?
I just want to say I love you piano teachers. I think that we as piano teachers have such an opportunity to create beauty in the world and to help little people become music lovers. And it's such a gift. I mean, I remember all my piano teachers. We all remember our piano teachers. So they're going to remember you for the rest of their life. And that is just so beautiful.
Yeah, I was talking with one of my piano teacher friends about how in school they get typically a new classroom teacher every year. But as piano teachers, a lot of times we get to stay with them for years and years. And I think that's such a special relationship that we can develop with them.
It is. I mean, I think back to my piano teachers, and it is just like the sweetest relationship, the best memory that you have. It's really like such a gift to be able to teach, I think.
For sure. Well, Leslie, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom and your love of music and music resources with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed talking with you so much.
Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. Definitely go follow Leslie on Instagram, especially if you're a parent, or you can recommend her account to parents in your studio if they are asking for more resources to help their kids with music. After I recorded this interview, I told one of my friends I was talking to this podcast guest like we were best friends, even though we just met. But I think that that's why she's grown so quickly, is that she feels like a friend who is giving you really helpful advice and tips that are easy to follow and implement. All right, friends, that is all for this week. Next week, I'm going to be talking with a flute teacher, but she's also a coach and hosts a podcast as well. So I'm really looking forward to meeting her and doing that interview. That is the end of the show for this week. I'm Rachel Ehring, and you've been listening to the Top Music Piano Podcast. I will talk to you again very soon.
How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today.